Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and I'm gonna be honest. I am very concerned in regards to this year's election, and it's not really for the reason that a lot of people think. It's really just because the amount of people that I talk to, and I talk to specifically that I'm talking about are Black people that plan on voting this year. Everyone, regardless, is just so headstrong with voting for Biden. And I don't know how individuals can justify that. And the problem that I have is this: no one wants to admit that the system is broken, and no one wants to test the system. And this is what I mean by this. If there was ever a time for you to test something out, test out and what I mean by that is I'm talking specifically about America's election process. If you really want to test America's election process, this is the election to do it in. I said this back in 2020 when both Biden and Trump were running. I didn't like either one of them then, and they were in their 70s at that point in time. I told people then, if there was a time to test out voting for a third party candidate or writing in a name on a ballot to see if that process actually works, because we've never seen it. That's why I'm saying, does it actually work? Let's test it out then. And I said that in 2020, and I'm going to stick with that in 2024 because I do not plan on voting for either Biden or Trump in 2024. So what I mean is this: if these candidates are so horrible, you have one of them that's an aging elderly man that obviously has mental capacity issues, and you obviously have one on the other end that is so self-absorbed and so self-adulating that their decision-making process is not the best. And I'm talking about Trump, because his decision-making process, he's just so vain and he's not really up on a lot of issues, because in that debate that happened, he really didn't make any intelligent points. He didn't bring up any programs that he thinks that we would do. He didn't provide a strategic vision. So my thing is this: we've never seen an election where the masses of everyone across America, all 300 million citizens, I don't know if those 300 million are of legal age to vote and can legally vote. Well, let's just say it's 200 million or 150 million. Let's test out with the voters to say everyone either pencil in one person's name, whether we pencil in, let's just, for example, whether it's Bernie Sanders as a Democrat, or whether we pencil in Nikki Haley as a Republican, or whether we say, okay, these are the only two people that we're going to pencil in, either Nikki Haley or Bernie Sanders or whomever, Gavin Newsom. Pick one from the Democrat side, one from the Republican side, or maybe even an independent to galvanize behind. Let's pencil that person's name in, and let's see if one or two things. Number one, if they have the most votes in the particular states, like let's just say Nevada, California, so forth. Let's see if those states actually count those votes towards those individuals and give them the electoral votes for those particular states because they're write-ins. So let's test it, and then let's test to see if we can get those individuals elected. This is the perfect time to do this, people, because I'm going to tell you like this: these two candidates are not worth voting for. One felt entitled just because they were the incumbent that they get to run again, as opposed to saying, should I be running? In the the DNC, they didn't hold, or no one decided to run against. I don't know if that people were dissuaded from voting, or running against him in the primary. I'm talking about Biden. Since he was the president, he automatically gets the nominee. But this man is so old, but he feels entitled to have 4 more years, knowing that he's 81 years of age. And this is a part of, and I'm going to digress for a second, but this is also a part of what's wrong with the American economy. You have a bunch of elderly people sticking around in the workforce when they should have retired. And I know people are going to get mad at me for this, but it's the honest to God truth. You have elderly people right now. They just decided at the age of 50 and 60 years of age, and 70 years of age to buy a house. Now they got a 30-year mortgage, and now they feel as though they have to work more. Instead of just saying, you know what, I'm winding down for retirement, these people incur debt, and now they have to continue working. And it's possibly too because, if they're working from home or they have a light job, that they can just stay in that position until they feel as though they can no longer perform or until they kill over. But the problem with that is you have a whole bunch of other young people graduating. You have millennials. Well, now we're talking about really Gen Zers. Then you have the Generation Alpha. I think that's what they're called. You have a lot of these young kids coming into the workforce, and people can't get upward mobility because the people at the top, all of the elderly, the baby boomers, they won't go anywhere. So you have a lack of people getting promotion. You have a lack of upward mobility. And the same is happening with the White House. These people need to move out of the way and let younger thoughts prevail. But of course, because you can't discriminate against the elderly, they won't do this. And so that's why I'm encouraging people to vote to do a write-in. But I hear so many Black people, they're so angry against Trump. And also they have these other ulterior motives. Because I said, do you really want everybody wants to see a Black female as a president. But my thing is this, and I'm not trying to say that having a Black female as a president is a bad thing. I don't really care who's president, to be honest with you. It's not going to, it doesn't, my only thing I'm talking about as far as what your attributes are, whether you're male, female, white, Asian, I don't really care. But Black people are so yearning to have a first Black president, a first female Black president, a first female president, and America as a whole, that they're letting those things cloud voting. My thing is, what we can afford to do is allow, if Donald Trump gets reelected, then just sit through 4 more years of Donald Trump. We sat through 4 years of Donald Trump from 2016 to 2020. The world did not end, people. Life went on. There may have been some dramas that occurred, with him, as far as, him using the military to move those people out of the square so he could take a picture with the Bible. I do remember that. He did have some mishaps, but for the most part, no, the country didn't fall apart. The buttons didn't get pushed. The football, as they call it, did not, get, they didn't launch any missiles or anything. We went on and we were fine. So the thing with Black people in the Democratic Party is, at some point in time, you have to say, when are Democrats going to hear my requests? What has Black people ever gotten from the Democratic Party? That's what I want to continually ask. All I hear, and I've done videos on that racist Bill Maher, as soon as Black people start talking about specific initiatives for Blacks, then all of a sudden Bill Maher wants to roll his eyes and he wants to get mad. But these are things that are owed to Blacks, and I'm specifically talking reparations. The government promised our ancestors 40 acres and a mule. We did not get it. The Japanese got reparations for being in internment camps. The indigenous Americans, they don't have to pay taxes for the rest of their life. They're exempt from paying taxes, and they get their own land, and they get to run their own casinos and their own businesses tax-free in the respective areas that they're in. But what have Black people gotten? And I know some Blacks are going to say, well, we got affirmative action. Affirmative action is nothing. They can give you a job, do the affirmative action, and then they can make your life on that job so miserable that you either quit or they fire you. And then they can justify it and say, well, you were a poor performer. And we all know that may not be the case. It may be that that's the narrative that they paint. So we need to get actual reparation compensation so that those individuals that get the reparations, if they want to blow their money on frivolous stuff, because you're going to have some people do that. That's in any race. You're going to have all people. Not everyone is good with money. But if some people want to blow their money on frivolous stuff, then fine, let them do it. But you're going to have a significant amount of Black people that are about something, take that money, invest it, and create more generational wealth. That's the importance of us getting what we want. and the importance of reparations. Also, the another thing is, why hasn't Biden and Kamala Harris, and she's a black woman, why haven't they created any initiatives to force venture capitalists and angel investors to invest in black tech businesses? When do black businesses get these big time government contracts that you see Northrop Grumman, that you see Excella, and all of these other companies get? We don't get that. They need to set aside some initiatives to encourage black wealth from a business ownership perspective. The only thing they want us to do is they want to just give us free money to go to school. When has education, and I'm not trying to knock education, but education doesn't guarantee you success. And young people should figure that out right now. The young people that have gone to college, you should know this. Also, too, it is documented proof that a black person with a bachelor's degree and even with a master's degree makes the same amount of money as a white person with a high school diploma. And you want to know why that is? Because when you're on a job, the management and the bosses decide whom they promote and how much they're going to pay this person and that person. When you're in private industry, your salary is negotiated. Right now, they're trying to make it a little bit more transparent, but your salary is negotiated. So they can offer one person 80,000, they can offer another person 30. And it's supposed to be private. You're not supposed to talk about what your salaries are. Those are grounds for termination. And these are how they keep black people poor. They just want you to get an education. Basically, they're going to take that money and give it to a white institution, because you're not going to go to an HBCU. You're going to go get a degree and go get a job, and you're still going to just be in the same situation. And mind you, if everybody has a degree, no one's special. It's just like what they say in The Incredibles. If you ever watched that movie, The Incredibles, that Disney movie, when little Buddy says, if everyone's a superhero, then no one's a superhero. If everyone has a bachelor's degree, then no one's special. Then you're all in the same boat. But at some point, black people are going to have to say, we're willing to throw this election and sit through 4 years of Trump. My life is I'm not going to get drafted. Nothing's drastic is going to change for me. I'll sit through 4 years of Trump. And then in 2028, then maybe you'll really listen to me, Democrats. Then maybe you'll really take the initiatives that we want seriously in order to retain our vote. What good, and let me ask this final question. What good is it of you seeing what good is seeing Barack Obama become the first black president? I'm not trying to say that it wasn't a good moment. I'm not trying to say that. It's always a good moment to see someone like you in a particular position of power, or in a particular glorious job, whether it's a black, Simone Biles, and Dominique Dawes and them kind of breaking boundaries. Who's the black female skater? Debbie, I forgot her name, Debbie Thomas. When you see those type of individuals do things, yeah, that's kind of good because it does inspire younger kids. But for the most part, how does it change your life? How did Barack Obama becoming the first black president change your life? It didn't. He didn't hire you. He didn't give you. It changed Jay-Z's life. It changed Beyonce's life because Barack Obama invited them to the White House more times than he invited anybody else. And that's the honest to God truth. He invited a predicate felon, a man who bragged about selling drugs and bragged about ruining communities, to the White House. He didn't invite you common folk to the White House. How did Barack Obama becoming the first black president and Michelle Obama becoming the first black first lady change your life? It didn't. You didn't get any special perks or treatment from it. You're still a peasant just like everyone else. So that's why I don't understand why people are so willing to say, well, let's get behind Kamala. What is getting behind Kamala going to do? She's married to a white man. She doesn't have any black initiatives. You don't see her. She doesn't advocate for black people at all. And the only time now she's coming out is because it's an election year. So when have we ever benefited? These are the things you have to ask yourself. It doesn't benefit me in any personal manner. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If I had an opportunity to say this, if I had an opportunity for Kamala Harris to become the first black female president, or I had an opportunity for, let's just say, some Asian buddy of mine, or white buddy of mine, or Indian buddy, but a non-black person becoming president, but they know me personally, and it like, man, hey buddy, if I become president, I'm gonna hook you up and give you a job doing this and a job doing that. Or hey, I may not give you a job. I know you're happy in the job that you currently have, but I've heard some of your initiatives and they sound pretty cool. Which one would you vote for? I'm voting for the other person that's going to give me my initiatives, the one that I know that's going to do me a solid. I'm not voting that way. So stop all of this stuff just wanting to vote for a Democrat because they're Democrat. And stop hating on Trump just because you hate him. You hate him. At some point in time, you have to take your feelings out of the election and say, even though I don't like this man, I don't like Donald Trump, I also don't like how the Democratic Party has treated my people for the past 40 years, well, 60 years now. I guess it's about 60, or no, about 50 years that since we've been aligned with the Democratic Party. They've made a bunch of promises to us and we're still in the same situations. And the only thing I hear black people talk about is, yeah, well, when so and so was president, so and so freed a whole bunch of black people from jail. Well, what? Okay, they were in jail, and some people were in jail probably not erroneously. Some people were in jail erroneously, but those people get freed through the natural process, and some people don't. It's unfortunate, but some people just had excessive sentences. That's what those people are talking about. But Trump freed a lot of those people too. He freed a lot of black people that had excessive sentences. And I'm not advocating for this man, but I'm just pointing out facts. These are facts. Go look them up. Barack freed a lot of blacks. He commuted a lot of their sentences, and so did Donald Trump. Matter of fact, I want to say Donald Trump freed some famous rapper. I don't know who these losers are. And it was a loser probably that didn't even deserve to get freed, but he freed him anyway. I don't know. But the point that I'm making is this. Just because you hate somebody, you have to also look and say, well, what has this other party done for me? We've been aligned with the Democratic Party for at least 40 years. And what have we gotten from it? And people keep saying that we're better off than we were. No, you're not. The statistics have proven that we were better when we were segregated. When we were living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and down in Rosewood, and when we were in segregated communities in Richmond, Virginia, and in New York City, we were better off. We were better off fighting. We had the same amount. We contributed the same amount. We had the same amount of wealth ratio from blacks to whites back then as we do now. These are proven facts. But black people still think that just because they can buy Benz and because they can get, cosmetic surgeries and because they can take trips and get flown out, that they're better off. And you're not. You're still a worker. You're still nothing. And the government still refuses to pay you what they owe you. And it's time to make them pay. So this is the Political Brown Kid. This is just my thought on the situation. If you have a thought on it, drop your comments in the comment section. Also hit the like and subscribe button. Once again, Political Brown Kid, I'm out.